Common forces in mechanics. In mechanics we come across many kinds of forces, but broadly there are four kinds of forces that we discussed today. The first one is action at a distance force. So action at a distance force means basically it is related to the gravitational force. We all know that Earth attracts every body towards its center, and this force we call it as gravitational force as far as Earth concerned. So if there is a body placed at certain height from the surface of Earth, but still the body get attracted without any physical contact, and these forces we call it as field forces, or in simplest way we can say it's the gravitational force. So gravitational force is the force which acting between two bodies, between Earth and any body, and the force always acts towards to the center of the Earth. And this force is a very large force. Almost the range of this gravitational force is infinite and weakest force among the rest of the forces. And comes to the next force is contact forces. That means these forces exist when the two surfaces of the bodies are in contact. Example, frictional force, normal force. These forces we call it as a contact forces. That means whenever the body comes into contact with another body, example frictional force, normal force. So if you take one body which is in contact with another body or another surface, so there is a contact between these two, then these forces will act. Frictional force is always parallel to the plane of contact, whereas normal force is always perpendicular to the plane of contact. So normal force will be perpendicular to the plane of contact, but frictional force is parallel to the plane of contact. And the next force is tension in a string. Example, if you tie a body to the string and hangs to the fixed support, the body will not fall down. Why? Because of course its own weight will act downward, but according to Newton's first law and second law also, if the total forces balance, then only the body will be in equilibrium. Since its own weight is acting downward, there must be a counter and equal force should be there which balances the weight. What is that force? That force is acting, that force is lies in the string, which is nothing but tension. The tension force is always a pulling force, which is not a pushing force. So the tension will pull the body in the upward direction and weight will pull the body downward. So tension force is balancing weight here. And the next force is spring force. It is also similarly appears to be tension, but it's a bit different. Example, if there is a spring connected to a body of mass m, so because of its weight, the body will try to go down. So the moment when the body is trying to go down, the spring will be stretched. When the spring stretch, there will be spring force act opposite direction of its stretch. That means the force is opposite direction of its displacement. So that force will counter the body of weight. So spring force will act in the upward direction in this case, and weight will act downward in this case. Here one interesting fact is the contact forces, tensions force and spring forces all comes under into one category called electromagnetic force, which is originated at electric forces. We also call it as electric forces or electromagnetic forces. So the contact, tension and spring, all these forces are originated from the same type of force, which is called electromagnetic force. One example I can give you. Example, if I'm talking about normal. So if when one body is placed upon another body's surface, what happens? The electrons of the two surfaces will start exchanging. Therefore, there will be a mutual attraction takes place. So Because of the sharing of an electrons from one surface to another surface, there will be an electric force according to Coulomb's law, and that electric force will gives rise all these forces, either contact forces or tension or spring, whatever it is.